Welcome to Veil of the Bible, where biblical stories come alive through powerful narration. I'm your host, and today we're diving deep into one of the most epic battles ever recorded. Subscribe now and hit that notification bell for more incredible biblical stories that will transform your understanding. Today, we uncover the ultimate showdown between Archangel Michael and the dragon, a cosmic war that shook the very foundations of heaven itself. This isn't just ancient history, it's a battle that continues to impact every soul on earth. Get ready for revelations that will leave you speechless. In the beginning, heaven was a realm of perfect harmony. Every angel knew their place, and worship flowed like a river of pure light toward the throne of the Almighty. But perfection would soon face its greatest test when pride crept into the heart of the most beautiful of all created beings. His name was Lucifer, the morning star, the light-bearer, created with wisdom that surpassed all others, adorned with every precious stone. He was the anointed cherub who walked among the fiery stones of God's presence. Yet within this perfection, a dangerous seed began to grow, the seed of self-exaltation. "I will ascend to heaven," Lucifer whispered in the shadows of eternity. "I will raise my throne above the stars of God. I will sit enthroned on the Mount of Assembly. I will make myself like the Most High." These words would echo through heaven like thunder, signaling the beginning of the greatest rebellion ever conceived. But Lucifer was not alone in his rebellion. With smooth words and cunning deception, he began to turn the hearts of other angels. 1/3 of heaven's mighty host would eventually follow him, believing his lies that they deserved more than what God had given them. The conspiracy grew in secret places. The atmosphere in heaven began to change. What was once pure unity became divided loyalty. Angels who had sung together in perfect harmony now whispered doubts and questioned divine authority. The very fabric of heaven's peace was being torn apart by the spreading poison of rebellion. As the rebellion grew stronger, heaven's forces began to take sides. Some angels remained faithful to their Creator, while others were swayed by Lucifer's promises of power and independence. The stage was being set for a conflict that would determine the destiny of countless souls across the universe. God, in his infinite wisdom and justice, could not allow this rebellion to continue unchecked. The time had come for decisive action. The Almighty would not fight this battle personally. Instead, he would appoint a champion, a warrior whose loyalty had never wavered, whose courage had never failed. Enter Michael, whose name means, "Who is like God?" This wasn't just his name. It was his battle cry, his declaration of absolute loyalty to the Creator. Michael had watched the growing rebellion with grief and righteous anger, knowing that the time for choosing sides had finally arrived. Michael was no ordinary angel. He was the archangel, the prince of the heavenly host, a warrior whose very presence commanded respect from every created being. His strength was legendary, his wisdom profound, and his devotion to God unshakable. He would become heaven's greatest defender. The tension in heaven reached its breaking point. Lucifer's followers grew bolder, their rebellion more open. They began to challenge not just God's authority, but the very order of creation itself. Something had to give, and everyone in heaven knew that the confrontation could not be avoided much longer. In the throne room of the Almighty, a divine decree was issued. The rebellion would be crushed, order would be restored, and those who had chosen to follow Lucifer would face the consequences of their choice. The command was given: "Let there be war in heaven." Michael received his commission with solemn determination. This was not a battle he desired, for these rebels were once his brothers, fellow servants of the Most High. But justice demanded action, and Michael would not shirk his duty. He began to gather the loyal angels, preparing them for the fight of eternity. As news of the coming battle spread throughout heaven, every angel had to make the ultimate choice. Would they stand with God's appointed leader Michael, or would they join Lucifer's rebellion? There was no middle ground, no neutral position. The lines were drawn, and war was inevitable. The loyal angels rallied behind Michael's banner. These were not just soldiers, they were warriors of light, each one committed to defending the honor and authority of their Creator. Their unity was their strength, their faith their shield, their obedience their sword. The army of heaven was ready. Meanwhile, Lucifer prepared his own forces. His angels were motivated by pride, ambition, and the false promise of freedom from divine authority. They believed they were fighting for liberation, but in truth, they were marching toward their own destruction. The stage was set for the ultimate confrontation. The division in heaven became absolute. Brother stood against brother, friend against friend. The angel who once sang praises beside you might now stand across the battlefield as your enemy. This was the tragic reality of rebellion. It tears apart the very fabric of community and love. Michael walked among his troops, strengthening their resolve. He reminded them of God's goodness, His justice, His love. "We fight not for conquest," Michael declared, "but for truth. We fight not for glory, but for righteousness. We fight because someone must stand against the darkness." On the other side, Lucifer filled his followers with grand visions of independence and power. "Why should we serve when we can rule?" he asked them. "Why should we bow when we can stand as equals? Today, we break the chains of servitude and claim our rightful place as gods." The preparations for battle were unlike anything heaven had ever seen. Angels, who had known only peace and worship, now prepared for war. Swords of light were drawn, armor of righteousness was donned, and shields of faith were raised. The time for words had passed. Only action remained. God himself watched from his throne, his heart grieved by the necessity of what was about to unfold. He had created these angels for fellowship, not warfare, but love sometimes requires discipline, and justice demands that rebellion cannot go unpunished. His will would be done, even in this dark hour. Michael made one final attempt at reconciliation. Standing before Lucifer, he pleaded with his former brother, "It's not too late. Repent, bow before your Creator, and mercy can still be yours." But pride had hardened Lucifer's heart beyond the reach of reason or compassion. "Never!" Lucifer roared, his beauty now twisted by hatred and ambition. "I will not serve a God who demands submission. I will not bow to anyone, not even the Almighty. Today, heaven learns that some spirits cannot be broken, some wills cannot be bent." The moment of truth had arrived. Michael raised his sword high, its blade blazing with holy fire. "Then so be it," he declared. "Let all heaven witness that rebellion against the Most High leads only to destruction. In the name of the Lord of hosts, let justice be done." The silence before the storm was deafening. Angels on both sides prepared for battle, knowing that when this day ended, heaven would never be the same. Some would be vindicated, others would be cast down. Some would rise in victory, others would fall in defeat. Lucifer transformed before their eyes, his angelic beauty melting away to reveal the monster he had become. Where once stood the light-bearer, now crouched a great red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns, his tail sweeping away a third of the stars of heaven. The metamorphosis was complete. The sight of Lucifer's transformation sent shockwaves through both armies. The rebels realized for the first time what they had truly followed, not a liberator, but a destroyer. The loyal angels strengthened their resolve, seeing clearly the evil they were called to defeat. Michael stood unmoved by the dragon's fearsome appearance. He had seen through Lucifer's deceptions from the beginning, knowing that beneath the beautiful exterior lay a heart of darkness. Now that darkness was revealed for all to see, and Michael was ready to meet it head-on, the dragon let out a roar that shook the pillars of heaven. His fury was unleashed, not just at Michael, but at all of creation that refused to bow to his will. This was more than rebellion now. This was pure hatred given form, evil incarnate seeking to destroy everything good and holy. Michael raised his voice above the dragon's roar. "You ask who is like God? Today all heaven and earth will know the answer. None can stand against the Almighty. None can overthrow his throne. Your rebellion ends here, deceiver. Your tyranny dies today." The tension reached its peak. Two titanic forces faced each other across the expanse of heaven. Michael, champion of light and righteousness, and the dragon, embodiment of pride and rebellion. Between them lay the fate of countless souls and the future of creation itself. What do you think about this epic confrontation so far? Are you ready to witness the ultimate battle between good and evil? Share your thoughts in the comments below and let us know if you're Team Michael or if you have questions about this incredible biblical account. The battle erupted with a violence that shook the very foundations of heaven. Light clashed against darkness, righteousness against rebellion. Michael's sword blazed like a star as it met the dragon's claws in a shower of sparks that illuminated the cosmic battlefield. The dragon's 7 heads struck like lightning, each one breathing fire and speaking blasphemies against the Most High. But Michael was ready for every attack. His movements graceful yet deadly, each parry and thrust executed with divine precision. This was warfare on a scale beyond human comprehension. Around them, the armies of heaven engaged in their own battles. Loyal angels fought with the strength of their convictions, while rebellious angels fought with the fury of desperation. The sound of clashing swords and war cries echoed through the heavenly realms like thunder. Michael pressed his attack, driving the dragon back step by step. "Your power was given by God," Michael declared between sword strikes. "Without him, you are nothing but a created being consumed by your own pride. Today, creation returns to its proper order." The dragon's rage intensified as he realized he was losing ground. His tail lashed out, seeking to destroy everything within reach. Stars fell like rain, but Michael stood firm, protected by the armor of God's righteousness and the shield of absolute faith. In a moment of desperate cunning, the dragon attempted to corrupt Michael himself. "Join me," he hissed between attacks. "Together we can rule all creation. Why serve when you have the power to command?" But Michael's loyalty could not be shaken by any temptation. "Get behind me, Satan!" Michael roared, his voice carrying the authority of heaven itself. "I know my place, and it is at my Creator's right hand, not on a throne built from rebellion and lies. Your words have no power over those who truly know their God." The tide of battle began to turn decisively in Michael's favor. The dragon's movements became more frantic, less coordinated. Pride and rage were poor foundations for sustained warfare, while Michael's strength seemed to increase with every moment, fed by divine purpose and righteous cause. Seeing their leader faltering, some of the rebellious angels began to waver. They had followed Lucifer believing he was invincible, but now they witnessed him being systematically defeated by Michael's superior skill and divine backing. Doubt crept into their hearts like poison. Michael seized the moment of uncertainty. His sword blazed brighter than ever as he delivered a series of devastating attacks that left the dragon reeling. Each strike was not just physical, but spiritual, cutting through deception and revealing truth with crystal clarity. The dragon made one last desperate gambit, summoning all his remaining strength for a final, all-out assault. His 7 heads struck simultaneously, while his tail sought to entangle Michael. This was the moment that would decide everything. Victory or defeat hung in the balance. But Michael was ready. In a move of breathtaking skill and power, he caught the dragon's central head in his mighty grip, while his sword pierced through the creature's defenses. The battle cry that erupted from Michael's throat shook every corner of heaven. "The victory belongs to God!" The dragon's defeat was total and absolute. His roar of rage turned to a cry of defeat as Michael's final blow sent him hurtling from his position in heaven. The great deceiver, the morning star, the one who would be like God, was cast down like lightning from heaven. With their leader defeated, the rebellious angels found their own strength failing. One by one, they too were overcome by the loyal forces of heaven. The rebellion that had seemed so mighty, so unstoppable, crumbled in the face of divine justice and Michael's unwavering courage. The victory was complete, but it came at a cost. Heaven had been scarred by civil war, and the perfect harmony that once existed could never be fully restored. Yet through the darkness, a greater light shone, the light of justice triumphant and truth vindicated. Thank you for staying with us through this incredible battle. Your dedication means the world to us here at Vale of the Bible. But hold on to your seats, because the best part of this story is still coming. The consequences of this heavenly war will change everything. As the smoke of battle cleared, heaven surveyed the aftermath of the Great War. The rebels were defeated, their leader cast down, but the victory came with profound consequences that would echo throughout all of creation. Michael stood victorious, yet his heart was heavy with the weight of what had transpired. The dragon and his followers were hurled from heaven with tremendous force. Down, down they fell, like stars plummeting from the sky until they crashed onto a small planet called Earth. What had been their prison would become humanity's testing ground, their exile humanity's trial. On Earth, the dragon took on many names: Satan, the devil, the deceiver, the father of lies. His defeat in heaven had not destroyed him, only relocated him. Now he would spend his time seeking to corrupt humanity, the beloved creation of the God he could not defeat. But Michael's victory had established something crucial. Rebellion against God has limits, evil has boundaries, and no created being, no matter how powerful or cunning, can ultimately overthrow the Creator. The cosmic order was secure, justice was established, and truth had triumphed. The loyal angels who stood with Michael were rewarded for their faithfulness. They became ministering spirits, sent to serve those who would inherit salvation. Their victory in heaven equipped them to help humanity in their own battles against the forces of darkness. Michael himself was elevated to an even greater position of authority. He became not just an archangel, but the prince who protects God's people. Whenever evil threatens the innocent, whenever darkness seeks to overwhelm light, Michael stands ready to defend and deliver. The war in heaven revealed something beautiful about God's character. He doesn't fight his own battles when his children are capable of fighting for him. Michael's victory was also God's victory, achieved through a faithful servant who refused to compromise with evil. For us today, Michael's example provides a powerful template for spiritual warfare. We face the same enemy he defeated, the same lies he rejected, the same temptations he overcame. His victory assures us that Satan is already a defeated foe, no matter how fierce he may appear. When we face our own battles with temptation, discouragement, or spiritual attack, we can remember Michael's battle cry, "Who is like God?" The answer remains the same: no one. No problem is too big for our Creator, no enemy too strong for our defender. The dragon's defeat also teaches us about the consequences of pride and rebellion. What began as a desire for independence ended in exile and eternal defeat. The path of humble obedience may seem difficult, but it leads to victory, while the path of rebellion leads only to destruction. Michael's loyalty throughout the conflict shows us the power of unwavering faith. When others were swayed by smooth words and false promises, Michael remained steadfast. His example encourages us to stand firm in our own convictions, regardless of popular opinion or pressure to compromise. The war in heaven was not just ancient history. It was the decisive battle that secured our freedom. Because Michael defeated the dragon in heaven, we have the assurance that Satan's power over us is limited. we can resist him, and he will flee from us. As we conclude this epic tale, remember that you are not facing your spiritual battles alone. The same Michael who defeated the dragon in heaven stands ready to help you in your struggles. Call upon the God who commands angel armies, and know that victory is already yours in Christ Jesus. What an incredible journey through one of the Bible's most epic battles. What did you think of this amazing biblical account? Does Michael's victory give you courage for your own spiritual battles? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing from our Veil of the Bible family. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and ring that notification bell so you never miss our powerful biblical stories. And before you go, make sure to check out our latest video recommendation, another mind-blowing biblical story that will challenge and inspire your faith. Thanks for watching.